Today we are going to be discussing about the new very important topic, which is Java Spring Event Driven Programming. So in this video we will be take a look at that the examples and the scenario how we can be able to implement Spring Event Driven development. Uh, First take a look at that. This is the basically architecture: Spring Event Publisher and Handler. In this example you can see a user service where user you have a API controller, or you have any endpoints where the user registration process has been started, and then you have to create a class which is application which is derived from application publisher, and you can use their method publish message. And this class is basically into the Spring Boot container, and then publish call to the publish method. And we have to create another class which is application handler, which is handling a specific kind of event. Whatever the event is sent by the application publisher, it will receive by the handler. There is no connection between them, as you can see, but all connected to the Spring container. So Spring container is responsible to sending the message to the application handler. Okay, so now take a look at that example. This is Spring Boot application, and in example we have the controller. Okay, we have an entity and we have an event, right? This is main class. We actually use the Spring Boot application and enable asynchronous. Enable asynchronous is used basically for the event driven. For example, if you are using multi-threaded environment, so you can use the event enable asynchronous event. Okay, so in this for example the controller, so we are using the REST controller and request mapping, right? Request mapping is the user. All the request to the application is from the user/user, and we have created and message which is register. For example, if you are registering any user, so you can use this message. We are not writing the code for saving the data into the DB. We just try to publish the message. This is basically a class is built by us, audit event publisher. Okay, so we auto wire it and inject it, and we use their method. There are two methods we use: publish event and publish event 2. So both of the messages are taking string, or you can if you go to the publisher audit event publisher, this class is basically nothing. It's a component. It means this class will be into the component IOC Spring container, right? So we use the application event publisher. This is the basically class which is responsible for sending the message. So we use it in our application in our class, and we have created two methods: publish event and publish event 2. Take a look at that. The simple one, publish event 2, it will receive the message and then call their method publish event. Simple. But in the second of the method, they actually receive the message, but they actually create the map and add some other data like get data. Where is it coming from? This data. This basically getting the host name and the user agent information and then message. So it is a combination of three elements, and then whatever the message is being sent, so it will be append to all and then pass to the particular. So in both of the example, it is receiving only the string, plain string, and it is receiving the audit event type of message, right? So in both example, this is a simpler one I have created for you. So go to the audit event class. No, first we go to the handler. So handler is nothing. It's basically a component, Spring component, and we have created handle event 1 and event 2, right? So these are two message we have created, and you can see we have used event listener. So when we use the event listener, this attribute annotation is basically responsible for receiving the any kind of messages which was sent by the publisher. So simpler one, we actually receiving the message only string format, and then just we have received and then print the data accordingly. While in the second example, we use a special kind of a class which is ordered event, and we just get their data and get into the string format, which is use some object mapper to pretty format the JSON string and then get the values accordingly. So this is basically beautifier, and then use handle event and then print the data. So we are not calling this method, we are not calling these methods, but these are method are basically event listener and async basically allow to be through the multi-threaded, so it would not be block any kind of code, so it is thread enabled. So these two methods we are not calling this method, these are called by the Spring container, and we just publishing their messages through the publisher just sending message to the application event publisher, right? So there is no connection between the application event publisher and handler is just nothing getting the messages. So now we are going to run, and we take a look at the ordered event class, basically a special class which is getting extend from the application event, and then set the value. So you can be able to use any of the class according to your need, so you can be able to pass any kind of event. So whatever the event you want to pass, you can be able to create here. For example, I've created audit, so you can create the payment, you can create the emails, or whatever kind of the message you can be able to set. Now I'm going to run, and there is nothing in mom.xml, just server port. Now I'm going to run this application. Application is started. Now we need to run any kind of tool, either the Postman. I am using the Insomnia. So localhost 8080 user /register. This is basically endpoint and post and JSON. So you can see in the example, basically this is the user, and this is register, and it is receiving the user type of request body, which is a user, and user entity will have username and password, right? So whatever the user has been sent, it will to both event will be sent. So I'm going to clear the console and then use for example, if you can pass any of the message, for example, I just sent and no response. 200, okay, it's mean the request has been sent. Now take a look at the console, so you can see message received by the event handler, date and time, and user, and second one is basically a beautifier, which is getting some local host and user information and the whatever the agent is. So both of the messages are being received. We just publish this message, ordered event publisher, basically this one, it will pass application event messages. These are the two messages we just pass, and the handler is nothing, just receiving the event listener and then getting the special kind of messages. So handle event, basically this one, and the message received by the event handler, so this one. So both of the messages are being received, so you can be able to play around with this example and passing as many value as you want. So you can see the whatever the message you have been passed. So the benefit of this of its architecture is quite simple. So you can be able to download the source code from the Git repository. I will share the source code as well. Now I'm take a look at the bigger picture, why we use this event type of management and why we use it. So now take a look at the third example. For example, this is basically an e-commerce application. Okay, so in the e-commerce application, let's me zoom. Okay, so event driven spring event management, like for example, take a look at that the e-commerce application where we have a multiple of the module, like the payment module, the order management, register, login, email, card management. There are a lot of the module. So how we can interact with each other? For example, when user are going to be registered or log in, for example, if you are registering, then definitely you would have to call to the another of the module which is responsible for sending the email, right? For example, the forget password or registering, there are a lot of the email that need to be sent by the application. So email is another of the module. And for example, the payment, whenever the you purchase any items, a payment has been made successful, then email need to be sent to the particular person who is going to buy. So similarly for the order management, once the order has completed, then definitely fire an event for the payment. So this is how basically and for the inventory management, when we are ordering, we definitely need to check the inventory. And similarly for the card management. So these are module are interconnected with each other, and how they need to be communicate. It's a very difficult to communicate with each other, although the all are a spring container and these are monolithic approach. For this type of architecture, we use the event driven application, right? So for example, if you are onto the microservices architecture, where the multiple servers are available, for example, each of the component has its own other database, it's residing on own nodes on different of the server. So this example will not be going to be beneficial, because because these are basically a spring container. These are every application is outside of the spring container. So we definitely use another approach, which is Kafka. Kafka is basically distributed work for the distributed environment. However, if you are monolithic application and all components are onto the same machine, then this would be the beneficial. So as you can see, we have an event, we have event, we have order event, we have inventory event and payment event. So you can be able to create as many event as you want, and you can be able to create the handler accordingly. So there is no need to be connect the application between them. You just need to basically play around with this and use this event driven architecture, right? So hopefully hope you guys understand what is use of the spring event management. And if you have any question, any problem, so you can be able to message us. Thank you very much.